Hey, Sue, welcome to the Support Squad podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course, you're one of my beloved members of the Support Squad community, and it's just wonderful to get to connect with you one-on-one because I've seen your face so many times and we've talked on the group coaching calls, but it's wonderful to get to connect, and I'm excited to dive deep into conversation with you today. And to start, I would love to hear about your journey. Why did you start your business? And then I know that you serve a very specific type of client, which is very similar actually to the type of client that I served as a service provider. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to know who that is for you. Who is that ideal client and why do you love to help them?
Sure. So my journey, I started off as an admin VA last year because I wanted to live a life that was where I'm able to have a life of freedom and also help others. I feel like it's cliche to say that I want to make an impact on the world.
That's not cliche. I think we all do in our own way. I love that.
Yeah, well, being able to, live life the way we want to live our lives. So my ultimate dream is to be a digital nomad and to live in different countries around the world. And so this is supporting that while helping other women as well. And I specifically wanted to help spiritual female entrepreneurs because one, I feel like we, need all the support we can get as women. And I love to see the community that we're both in, and it's just so much support, and it's really community over competition. Like everyone is cheering each other on, everyone's rooting for each other, supporting each other in a lot of different ways. And it's really beautiful to see that. And I want to be a part of that and help also close all the gaps
Mm-hmm.
of inequality in the world. And with the spiritual coaches, I've become more spiritual in the past year. And I feel like that's really helped me in my personal life and in my business. And I really love that spiritual approach because it really helps to reprogram that person's subconscious, their client's
Mm-hmm.
subconscious. So I'm like, even if you don't believe in the crystals and the full moon and anything, at the very least, it is also science based. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just, the moon and the stars and the sun. There's rhyme and reason behind it. So
Absolutely. Yeah. I loved serving spiritual entrepreneurs and being totally immersed in that community. And especially for me as a podcast manager, I did so much of just listening to my clients. And there were so many days where it's just I can't believe that this is my job. And the women I worked with were so life-changing for me. I mean, the way you said that you've gotten more spiritual over the last year and it's really helped you. I experienced the same thing. And so it's such a wonderful kind of client to serve. And like you said, sometimes people can be turned off by or confused about the crystals and all of these different things. But I've always looked them just as tools. They're just tools for grounding us. And so whether or not you believe in the mystical qualities, there's definitely things that we can learn to as tools in our own self-development. So I'm totally with you there.
Awesome.
Yeah. So one thing I've watched you doing over the last I don't know, year or months is starting to transition from that admin VA into more of an OBM role. And I know a lot of folks are confused about, so what is the difference between an OBM and a VA? Is it just a supercharged admin, or are there specific things that make an OBM different? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So there's actually a lot of differences between them. And I do want to start off by saying that actually there are a lot of VAs who are also straddling a VA/OBM role.
Yeah.
They're really OBMs in disguise and they don't realize it.
That was me for a long time. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, you get to know someone's business and you become invested and you really want the best for them. So then you start, to use, your VAs are also visionaries. We don't just do tasks and that's it. We also help, give recommendations, and we also create, SOPs and things like that. So I'd say one of the main differences between an OBM and a VA is that a VA is a team member, where an OBM is more of a team leader.
Mm-hmm.
So a VA, you have the business owner who gives the VA a task, hey, I need, X, Y, and Z done by this date. this is what, these are the resources that you need to use, and that's it, right? But then the OBM comes in and they actually manage the VA and make sure that the VA knows what they're doing, checks in with them on a daily basis, and also make sure that they have their resources. And then the OBM helps strategize and plan the business owner's goals. So I'll sit down, I'll be like, hey, what are your goals for the next 12 months? Break that up into quarters and just come up with a super detailed, plan of how to achieve those goals. So
yeah, that's awesome. It can be so hard to, sometimes that transition can happen without you knowing it, just because you're stepping into more of a role and becoming more empowered. So, I love that you've started to recognize that these are the things that you enjoy doing and that you're able to make that transition. And then from the other side, for like a business owner who wants to hire an OBM and bring that into their business, what are some of the things that they can expect when working with an OBM?
So what they can expect is someone to basically come in and just do like a complete audit of their business.
Okay. Yeah.
Just, see what systems they have in place, their SOPs, if any. Usually there are none.
Yeah.
So basically they just identify where the holes are in their business, plug them in, and then also make that strategic plan. And then, just check in every week, every month, revisit the plan, every quarter, okay, what did we do last month? What worked? What didn't work? What are we doing moving forward? And just kind of just have a strategic approach to being able to help them achieve their goals.
Totally. I think a lot of business owners don't even realize that kind of support is available to them. They think that as like the leaders of their company, like creating the systems and like guiding the team and all of these things are totally on their shoulders. And that's why I love to introduce like new business owners to the idea of an OBM, because a lot of them think about like hiring a VA and they think that they're going to have to like structure everything and do all of that, where an OBM can take so much of that off of their plate, which is so amazing.
Exactly. And I also find that a lot of the people that I work with, they're a lot more creative and they don't like to do the logistics.
Yeah. That can happen so much, especially with spiritual entrepreneurs, because they want to spend more time, serving their clients into self-care, but then they're kind of forced into having to build all of that structure. And having support with that really, really helps. I always said when I was like executive admin or like OBMing for spiritual entrepreneurs that I allowed them to walk their talk, because I saw so many spiritual entrepreneurs who were totally burning out, and yet they were talking about like self-care and all of that. So it's like having that structure in place in your business helps you to walk that talk. And if we want to get woo about it, it's that masculine and feminine, where like the OBM can provide that like divine masculine structure and allow the more ease and flow, them to step more into that ease and flow in their business. So something I definitely noticed too.
Yeah, I agree.
So I know that you love systems as much as I do. And again, I think it's that real balance, that having systems, especially I've definitely noticed in my own business, having systems allows me more freedom. So what are your thoughts on systems? Why is it so important to have them in your business? Like, can't we just kind of go with the flow and like make things up as we go? Why systems?
So you can do that, but it will only get you so far.
Yeah.
There will be a point where everything's going to be chaotic. You're not going to be able to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. It's just not going to be, in the long run, it's not going to really work out. It's more of that's like a short-term solution.
Totally.
But systems are important because, don't you want to like take a day off? Don't you want to go on a vacation? It's like, you have to think back to your why. Like, why did you start this business? A lot of us did it for the freedom and the flexibility that having an online business allows. And, if you don't have those systems in place, you can't do anything. Like, your business needs to run without you in it. And I know a lot of business owners probably are scared to hear that. It's like, what do you mean? Like, no, like I need to be in it. But you should be able to take a day off and know that things are still going to get done. And it also ensures that everything is done accurately, and it leaves less room for error as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I totally agree. Like, without systems, we really can't take time off in our business because it feels like things aren't covered. And there's also like the mental clutter aspect too, of just like like creates, I've noticed this in my business, if I don't have a system built about something, it's like an immediate feeling of anxiety because I'm holding it in my brain of like, what do I need to do next? Or what does this need to be done?
Yeah.
So having systems really helps to ease that, especially for business owners that have any kind of like anxiety or anything like that.
Yes, I agree. And also, you don't feel like you have to reinvent the wheel every time you do something, like
Mm-hmm.
a repetitive task, especially if you're not familiar with the tech aspect of things. And you're always
Mm-hmm.
having to Google how to do something like, oh, how do I set up a recurring, billing for a client, or send out a reminder email to go out
Right.
automatically. So
Yeah, to constantly have to be reminding yourself of that stuff can be, yeah, time consuming and overwhelming. So
yeah.
for those spiritual entrepreneurs or any business owners that are thinking like, well, all of this structure sounds great. How do I get started? Like, what do I need to do? How does a business owner know that they're ready to hire an OBM? Because I'm sure there's a process there.
Yes. So there's a few things. One, if you're scaling really quickly
Mm,
and you're finding that you're having a hard time keeping up with everything, that's a really great time to think about outsourcing, to get those things off your plate. You also should be making, like, scaling to close to like consistent six figures,
mhm.
because you want to be able to grow a team. You want to be able to have an OBM and eventually, also have a VA on the team as well, along with everybody else. Um, if you don't like doing any of the tech and you're always, trying to waste time trying to figure out how everything works together, and because there's so many different platforms for the same thing, and trying to figure
Totally.
out what's best, and it's really time consuming, and a lot of them, can have learning curves, and it takes a long time sometimes to learn a certain system and how to make that work in your business. And if you're not techie, or if you don't like that, that it's not going to really work that well for you. And then you also need to have a clear vision of where you want to go
Yeah.
and what your goals are, because if not, then I can't help you get there if I don't know what you want.
Yeah,
I think
totally.
those things are really important.
Yeah, those are all great benchmarks to look at to make sure that you're ready and to help you get to that next level. And then I thought I'd ask too, just for fun, what are some of your favorite like systems or programs or softwares that you use as an OBM with your clients?
Yep. So my number one is Dubsado.
Yep.
And that's actually one of the ones I was thinking of when I was saying that there's like a learning curve. Like,
Ye-
Dubsado is not easy to
totally.
learn.
Yes, totally.
I'm still learning things, and then the thing
Yeah.
with tech is it's always evolving. There's always something new to
Hmm.
learn and stay on top of. And, it can be a lot for someone who's not familiar with those things. So I use Dubsado. I use Asana. I really like a
Hmm.
lot. I think aesthetically it's really nice too. I like all the colors, and they have unicorns.
Yes, that was always my favorite. And Asana was when the little narwhal would come out if I if I did enough tasks.
Yep.
I found that Trello works better with my brain, but I'm like, there's
Mhm.
no narwhals in Trello. What's the
Yeah.
deal?
You're like, what's going on?
No one's rewarding me here.
Yeah. Like, it's like the equivalent of like when you're a kid and you get like a sticker when you do
Yeah,
something
exactly.
good.
It really does feel good, honestly.
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah,
they know what they're doing.
totally.
So I use that. I use a program called Notion. I don't know if you've heard of that.
I
It's
haven't. I always learn something new. No, I've
Yeah,
never.
I feel like it's a little newer. It's like a
Okay,
good like place to just have everything organized. So I use
nice.
that. I also use Google Drive because Google
Yeah,
Drive is just classic and
yeah, a
easy to use.
must.
Yep. So yeah, so those are the main ones that I use in my business.
That's awesome. And then one question I always like to ask my guests is just what's one thing about you that's totally separate from your business, whether it's a hobby or an interest, just something that lights you up and that you're passionate about. Does anything come to
Music.
mind? Music, yay.
Music. So pre-COVID,
Mm-hmm.
I would go to a lot of shows, like probably at least like 10 concerts a year, and
Nice.
maybe like 2 to 3 festivals.
That's
Like,
awesome.
yeah, so I'm a little sad
I
right
know.
now.
What are some of your favorite concerts that you've been to?
Um, I'm trying to think. So I listen to a lot of rock, like
Yeah.
alternative. So The Strokes are my favorite band. So
Oh,
that
I love the Strokes.
yeah, so I've seen
Yeah.
them. They're amazing. Tame Impala, one of my
Yeah.
favorites.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. They're like that kind of classic rock sound, right?
Yeah, a little like
Yeah.
psychedelic too, like
Yeah.
funky. They're actually the last band I saw before the world shut down.
Mm, so sad.
Yeah, but yeah, those are some Foster the People, Incubus, like all those.
Oh my gosh.
So
Yeah.
fun, so fun.
So fun. Well, soon, I'm sure we'll be able to go to
Yes.
concerts again. That's one of the things I've missed the most too. I haven't been to many concerts in years because I've just been momming it so hard for the last few years. But my favorite thing pre-kids and pre-COVID was going to shows. And it's one thing that's definitely stood out to me during COVID is like, it would be so great to go to like an enormous concert with like tons of
Yeah,
people and like that energy, you just can't beat
it's
it.
so fun. It's so
I
fun. I love
know.
it.
I know.
Love live music.
Well, Sue, it's been so fun connecting with you. And I would love
Oh,
for you to share where we can find you online. Like if someone needs an OBM or if we just want to learn more about you, what are the best places for us to find you and work with you?
sure. So you can find me on my website, which is suealmonte.com. Basically, you could just find me by searching my name everywhere because that's what I use.
Love it.
So Instagram is at Sue Almonte. My Facebook is Sue Almonte. so,
Nice. I
so
love
yeah,
that consistency.
I,
It's
I
so
try.
good.
It's easy.
So easy to use your name and just have your name everywhere. Like, I love that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Awesome. Well, it's been such a pleasure chatting with you today. I can't tell you what an asset you are to the support squad community
Aw,
in general. I love
thank
when you show
you.
up to the coaching calls.
Mhm.
I've loved just watching you evolve and like be so intentional about the steps you've been taking in your business. I think it's been so awesome. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Thank you, Sharon. So happy. Thanks.
Thank you.